right, let's test this again. Thanks for letting me know about the audio. 1 second, let's see if this works. Oh, great. Thanks for that feedback. I appreciate it. I had that happen one time before where I did not check the audio and I spoke for 20 minutes without anything. So, all right, today we're looking at this deal, subto deal in Columbia, South Carolina. 3-bed, 2.5 bath, 5 Trench Ridge Court, 1276 square feet, no HOA. Let's see. Total purchase price is $198,720.41. Let's be efficient with everybody's time, huh? How about that? Start plugging these numbers in. 198,720. 198,720. All right. Now, in this area, the entry fee is 25 grand. So I'm going to put in $25,000 for my entry fee. Mortgage balance, 165,720. Let's plug this in so you guys can all see. 165,720. 165,720. Partial claim complete 8,000. Total loan balance 173. 5.5% interest rate. 5.5% interest rate. This is a number I care most about. 1595.84. So I'm gonna go to my property taxes number. It was 1595.84. I'm going to use the PITI. I'm going to subtract the principal and subtract the interest and any other loans that might be in place. There is no secondary loan yet. Let me keep reading it. Yeah, there's no other details there. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is this property is in South Carolina. So let's go ahead and just in case for those folks that do not know anything about this area, let's go ahead and just check the crime score really quick on this property. 5 Trent Ridge Court. Okay. Excuse my sniffling, just still a little under the weather. All right, neighborhood. We're going to look at the crime score. Crime score 29. That's pretty good for Columbia. All right, that's really low. One of the lowest I've seen. Cool. All right, the next thing we want to do is let's get a quick gauge of the property. Looks relatively turnkey. We got some carpet. I'll just put aside some money for painting. The bathroom looks great. I'm not going to remodel any of the bathrooms. Maybe I'll just set aside some money to replace the carpet eventually at some point. So if I looked at it, looks like there was only carpet in 1, 2. Yeah, only 2 rooms. So max like 300, 400 square feet. That's what I'm going to guess. All right. Now, in order to get our rent or a rent ceiling from HUD, Columbia actually has their own housing authority. Columbia Housing Authority has their payment standards that they already set out. And you can see that this is one of the examples that, no, it's not a duplex. This is a, wait, is it a duplex? Let me see. Hold up. No, it's a 3-bed, 2.5 bath. 3-bed, 2.5 bath townhome. Good question though. All right. So on this property, this is sort of what I'm telling you about. Whenever you have a little bit more clarity into your jurisdiction that your property falls under, and Columbia is a relatively big city in South Carolina. So sometimes bigger cities have their own housing authorities that manages the Section 8 program. And this is a really good example of sometimes when we have analyzed deals in the past, we have always checked to see what the HUD FMR is. Now, if you have a housing authority that has direct jurisdiction over the Section 8 program and they determine what your rent ceilings are, this is a very good example. So you can see that HUD FMR, they actually list out these numbers by bedroom count. Okay, but if you actually see what their payment standards are, is that they actually adjust it upwards by 20%, maybe because their standard of living is a little bit higher than what HUD calculated to be. So they're saying their each waiver exception research. So they're saying their payment standards for a 2-bedroom is $1,371, whereas if you looked at on HUD FMR, it might have only said $1,246. But just remember, this does include utilities. But this is going to be the payment standard that I'll be using for our property because it's a 3-bedroom in the state of Columbia. And I'm also going to write down 2109, 1755 and 2109. This is Columbia Housing Authority payment standard, 3-bed. And this is the 4-bed. And I'm just noting this down because my partners know how I analyze deals. So I'm just writing down these numbers so that we can save them a little bit of time. Duplex. Not a wise dude. You're the one asking the right questions. All right. So now that I got the rent ceiling, quote unquote, I'm going to go to affordablehousing.com, go to the owner section, go to the market rent estimator, and I'm going to plug in the address. 3 bedrooms. So my rent or average rent for this property is $1,524. Okay. Now, just remember, what do we always talk about? We talk about the rent reasonableness test. And even though the rent ceiling is $1,735, including utilities, because the market rent is only at $1,524 for 25 units within a 0.39 mile radius, you cannot charge more rent than what is comparable to an unassisted unit. So in this scenario, I'm going to assume that my rent is going to be $1,524 and not $1,755 because you cannot charge more rent to a resident simply because they are a voucher holder for the obvious reasons. So funny. We should underwrite a deal together. Magnolia, thanks for always being part of the calls and being part of the lives. Makes it a little bit more fun and a little bit more interesting. All right, so let's get creative. What if this is a 4-bedroom? I always like to look at 1+ bedrooms to see if we can creatively get more rent. So this is 2073 for 1.14 mile radius. It's still a relatively small mile radius, but you can see a pretty good jump from a 3-bed to a 4-bed. So this is not one of those markets where you don't see any lift from a 3 to 4. You do see it from 3 to 4 in this market, specifically in South Carolina, specifically in Columbia. All right, let me delete some of these numbers because this is from yesterday's analysis. Okay, 198. Let's go ahead and plug in some rehab. So this property is 1276 square feet. So I always do it. I always set aside $1,500 for the roof just in case there's some patching, some $500 for some outdoor cleaning. I want to set aside maybe half the square footage to paint because it looked pretty good, to be honest with you. 1276. Whoops, I don't know why those emojis came up. 5x2. And then I'm going to do another, I'm assuming 2 bedrooms needed, just making really, really large claims on thing. 200 square feet per room. It's $3,200 at $8 a square foot. We'll probably put in some high pressure flush toilets, what I typically do on 2 of the bathrooms. And that equals roughly a $9,600 rehab. Not bad, just having under preserve. So on this property, if I got my purchase price of $198,720, I got a rent, and I'm gonna take the lower of the two when I compare the payment standard and the fair market rent, because I'm not providing any utilities, so I won't have any utility expenses. So I'm gonna do 15. I'll just do 1550. All right. Now at 1550 being a rent, I already calculated what my property taxes were going to be because I took the PITI that was disclosed by the wholesaler of $1,595 and I'm subtracted by the subto loan balances. And now I'm going to add in another $30 for insurance just because that insurance number previously was probably a insurance number, assuming someone lived in there as a primary resident. So usually when you turn it into a rental property, because of extra liability, extra risk, I would assume that it will go up by at least $20 to $30 a month. All right. So I'm going to set aside 10% for property war chest for maintenance because something always breaks in every home, no matter what. And that's just only $155 a month. So eventually your roof needs to get replaced, your HVAC, etc. So something always breaks. All right. Never trust someone if they tell you that there's no maintenance. No matter how new the property is, you don't think something's going to break? That doesn't make any sense. I've seen some real estate people talk about we don't underwrite any maintenance, and now just mind blown that they would say that. All right, I got 10% for property management, and this is such a nice area. I'm going to keep vacancy at a really low of 3%. That's just my perspective because very low crime. If you have a government subsidized rent, chances are I would stay there for quite a while, especially if it's a nice area. Okay, so this brings me to our entry fee. We've put aside 25 grand for the down payment, for 2.5% for the closing costs, $9,600 for renovations, and this results in a whopping negative $432. So if it's a 3-bedroom, I'm getting $1,550 for rent, and my cash flow per month is minus $432. Cash and cash returns negative 13%. For me, this is not a deal, to be honest with you, because one, it's a negative cash flowing deal. However, if you were into a midterm rental, if you were into short-term rentals, you can definitely certainly underwrite it a little bit different. $2,000 a pop for water, yeah, that sounds about right. I paid as high as like $4,000 for a tankless one. Good call there. So on this purchase price, this is not a deal. And on this property, do I see an opportunity to convert an additional bedroom? Not really, because there's no garage. Typically, that's my easiest way to look for an additional bedroom on a property to see whether I can convert it into additional bedroom. But it looks like there's really no room here, in my opinion. Yeah, there's not even like a enclosed sunroom or anything like that. All right, so I wouldn't convert that to a 4-bedroom, so I'm not going to underwrite as a 4-bedroom. Just in case you guys are really looking for a midterm rental and you're looking for, hey, can I turn this into a midterm rental? I typically just look at Furnish Finder and I quickly just try to understand, like, hey, do I see any properties that are near my property that I can potentially turn it into a midterm rental? And let's see where we are. This is very much northeast of Columbia near Pontiac. Northeast of Columbia near Pontiac. And I'm going to set this filter to 3+ bedrooms on Furnish Finder. And it looks like there's this one little dot here that might make it work. So let me just take a look at these two. So this property is $3,600 a month. The condition of the home, a little bit almost comparable to ours. I wouldn't say ours is like a great below it, but this is a 4x3.5 bath. What's the square footage on this? Don't see it right away. How about this one? This one's 3-bed, 2-bath, 3,500. So you're able to see that this property could be potentially a midterm rental, right? If you do that, just don't forget to put in more maintenance and your furnishing costs to justify whether or not you're going to be cash flowing on this property. But this property looks pretty good, maybe for a midterm rental, to be quite honest with you. But personally, it's not my exit strategy. It's not what I'm passionate about. And I'm also not going to be your best midterm rental underwriter. I'm really good at underwriting short-term rentals. In case you guys ever do want to see me underwrite a short-term rental, you guys can just go to youtube.com at Kent_HE. Why more maintenance? Typically, I have cleaning expenses. So that's going to be very different than just setting aside money for your typical like roof and stuff like that. If you have cleaners that comes in to help you turn it over, if for some reason you got to restock some toiletries when people join, just about like what is the level of service you want to provide for your property. So if you guys ever want to watch me underwrite a short-term rental, this is going to be a really good one. How to analyze a short-term rental and investment property in 1 hour. I have that right on my YouTube channel. That was the one that was featured on Business Insider. If you guys ever want to look at a underwriting deal for a pad split or co-living, I went to really good deep details here. So between midterm rentals, just looking at some numbers here on Furnish Finder, between the YouTube channel on pad split for co-living, between short-term rentals, which you can also see on YouTube, go ahead and try to learn whatever your exit strategy is. The reason I don't spend that much time on it is because, hey, if you watch that video, chances are it's the same process every single time. I'm not as passionate about midterm rentals, but I am really passionate about affordable housing because I grew up in affordable housing myself. So uh, I did close on one, but I decided to walk away from that deal and let my partner take care of it because I just didn't want to manage it. So good question. All right. So that's it. Yeah. So this was not a deal. We went through a few things. So let's quickly recap, right? We had a deal. We went through the property details and we looked at exactly what it was. Honestly, if you wanted to rule out a deal and save yourself some time, if you would have compared the long-term rental rates to the PITI, you probably could have walked away from it and stopped analyzing right then and there. But I always like to walk it out with everybody so that we can truly see why, at what point would you rule out a deal. As you go through this process more and more, you'll figure out what exactly is your investment criteria. And to be clear, this is not investment advice, not soliciting any investments here. I'm simply showing you the work I'm doing every single day and hopefully help you guys avoid a little bit of burnout. Because if you spend all your time analyzing so many deals and it results in nothing, man, that is tough. I've been there. So hopefully this helps. And my goal is for all of you to analyze your own deals on your own YouTube channel. Copy my homework. That's all I'm saying. Sometimes it's so hard for us to get started. But if I were to just say to you, hey, just copy my homework, same property, same spreadsheet, just DM me your email on Instagram at investwithkenhe to get a copy of the spreadsheet, and my team will email it over to you. But put it on your own YouTube channel so that you can feel more confident when time comes. Because someone's going to ask you, hey, why do you think this is a deal? And you can point them to your own YouTube channel and say, I know this is a deal because look at me. I've analyzed a deal every single day for the past 177 days, rain or shine. I mean, I guess rain or shine doesn't matter. But you guys get my point. I was on my 12-year anniversary and I was still analyzing a deal. And I still went live because the skill I'm working on this year is the skill of having no excuses. Because we will always find a reason to not do something. And if I can analyze a deal on my 12-year anniversary vacation, you guys can all do it. And honestly, you want to speed it up? You can probably copy all my homework in one day. You can probably do it in like less than 50 days. You copy 3 of these assignments, put it on your YouTube channel, and boom. Do you think you'll feel a little bit more confident when the time comes for you to pull the trigger? I certainly hope so. You think someone will feel a little bit more confident in your ability to analyze deals? I certainly hope so. So that's my goal with all of this. The point is for you to analyze a deal and look at this video today and pick one section, one part, and explain it better than I did. Because this is the whole goal of a community. This is how we help one another. And most importantly, this is how we lift each other up and feel a little bit less lonely. I understand how hard it is to get started in real estate when you don't know where to start or who to talk to. Well, this is just one option for you. I'm not saying everybody has to be good at analysis. You could be a closer, you could be a capital raiser, but it doesn't take much skill to copy homework, does it? And I bet if you copy homework, hey, thank you so much for those comments, man. I appreciate that. And if you just copy my homework, you have to learn something at some point. You have to. Doesn't matter if it's math homework or Spanish homework, doesn't matter what it is. You eventually pick up a few words. You eventually pick up how to add and subtract. So that's my goal. I really hope everyone can take what we're doing today and do it together, because I hope one day you guys will pass it forward and pass the torch to another person. And this is how we truly solve the affordable housing problem together. So thank you so much for being part of the live today. Thank you so much for caring about affordable housing. Without all of you, I seriously would have never had the home I grew up in. Seriously. Today's my mom's birthday. And it's so freaking cool to be able to tell her, Mom, your sacrifices, your ability to have struggled so much to come over from China, to work that $3 job, to persevere even that night when you lost $5,000 in cash, even though you're trying to bring that home back to China to repay some of your relatives. That was not in vain. Thank you. That was not in vain. And she's the reason I'm able to use her story and my parents' story of raising a ton of money for affordable housing development. And this is probably one of the best ways I can ever repay her. And most importantly, remember her. We think we have all the time left in the world, and it's absolutely not true. So I really hope everybody spends some quality time with your family and friends today. I'm still alive. It's my mom's birthday, but I'm still alive. It's either you're dedicated or you're not. It's either you want it or you don't. And for those of you that are still out there looking for your passion, here's one thing that I might suggest to you. When I decided to become an underwriter and decided to invest in real estate, I decided to interview my parents. And I'm so glad I did, because I started a podcast on affordable housing and real estate investing. And I was like, what a damn shame it would be if I never interviewed my parents. And what a shame it would be if my kids never knew their story and their struggle and how they did it. So I would urge all of you, if you're still looking for your passion today, go interview your mom, your dad, your grandparents, your uncle, aunt, siblings, friends, neighbor. It doesn't matter what it is. I bet your passion and your fire is already in you from someone you already know. Worst case scenario, even if it does not result in something, I bet you have a really good story to tell your kids. And I really hope that you guys take this seriously and you guys truly go and find that story, because that story will likely lead you to a pitch that just might raise you hundreds of millions of dollars for affordable housing. And that, my friend, is how you will be able to make a difference, how you will be able to help whoever you want to help and in the way you want to help, so that you can live a life of incredible fulfillment. I get so much fulfillment every day going live and talking to all of you. And I really hope you guys all do it, because look, there might only be 4 people on this live right now, but I'm having so much fun. I'm hanging out with my friends, with people that really care about it. And there's nothing in the world that can possibly replace this feeling of fulfillment. And I'm so grateful to all of you for our support and our comments. I'm just so grateful. So thank you so much, everybody. And DM me anytime you have any questions. I have a lot of fun, and there's no reason why we can't analyze the deal together on a live. So just DM me. You guys ever have any properties? We can analyze it together. You guys can analyze it, and I can just provide some color commentary throughout. But this is what it's for. I do these lives to hang out with all of you and do deals together and get you guys to practice, because sometimes it's just easy to do it with somebody else. Just more fun. All right. Have an amazing day, everybody. I hope you guys really spend some quality time with your family and friends today. I know I will. And I'll be back here tomorrow for day 178. Have a good one.